Welcome to another edition of the podcast. Hello, how are you today? I'm your host, Mitch Corbett, and today I have a absolutely golden guest for you guys to listen to. I'm talking about my friend, fellow comedian, an artist, director, television personality, an overall genuinely great dude, Tyler Shazma. Tyler is a director, filmmaker, comedian, very funny one at that. And he actually just finished rapping and is now premiering on Bell TV. The show called This Is the Thing. It's an indie rock and roll sort of show. Lots of local Hamilton, Ontario vibes in terms of comedy and music. And it's about one guys that own a record store. One's a comedian, one's a character. And it's I watched the first season and it was very, very funny and very different than most programming that you see on TV. And they just released their second season. And so we're here to talk a little bit about that. We're here to talk about his adventures at Skank Fest this year, which just finished, I think it was a week or two ago. Not sure when this episode will be coming out, but yeah, the memories are fresh in his mind. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast and the episode with the great and powerful Mr. Tyler Shazma. And we're here. We're live with Tyler Shazma. Oh, he's still connecting to the audio. This is a wonderful intro. Look at it go.
Hello.
The signal in the country is not that strong. I see.
It's fine. I was just listening to Misfits really loud.
Oh, nice. I was talking to Pablo Torres, or Pablo Tovar. He runs all the events at the Covenant Garden in London, and he's from Colombia, and he actually booked the Misfits for a show in Colombia.
Sick.
And I had to get some good stories from him, and he was just like, I can't really remember all it happened so long ago, and it was a crazy time. I'm like, but still, you got to meet and like talk and hang out with the Misfits like before cell phones existed. So like, it got to be like a whole like thing. I was like, oh, so jealous.
Oh, like a long time ago, not recently.
Yeah,
they're playing like shows again. All right, I'm just closing everything so my computer doesn't bung up. All right.
Yeah, no,
this
is like before cell phones and everything. This is when he first started out before he moved to London, and
that's sick.
Yeah, it's very sick.
It's very sick. All right, I'm gonna go full screen. All right, we're in it. We're in it.
We're in it. Got a nice blurry background.
What's up, Mitchie? Yeah, I don't want you seeing what goes on back here.
It's just full of your dad's nudie mags.
Actually, that is the shelf that it was hanging on. They used to be in the kitchen. The origin of that joke.
Oh, fantastic. So, what's going on, my friend? How was your day?
So how's my day? My day was great. I had a great day. Pretty mellow day. I went and got some scrap metal, some rebar this morning to help with the Halloween haunt, and did some work. Hung out with my dog.
Are you doing the roast battle tomorrow at Fork River or no?
Yeah, I'm on the roast battle tomorrow at Fork River.
Is that is it a bracket thing? So like after you win or lose, you move on to the next round, or is it just like a?
Yeah, it is. It's a they have you paired up against people, and I'm against Brandon McIntosh, my friend of 15 years. I'm taking my sweater off. I'm hot.
So like all the old dirt's gonna come out, or?
I don't know. It was fucking harder to write for than it was to write for my girlfriend's roast. Like, I think because I've known him so long, it's hard. I want the jokes to be good and not be too inside. But like, and that's the other thing with these roasts. Like, it's going to be way too inside baseball. It's going to be funny for the audience. They don't know. You got to really be good on your setups for this and like set up who the person is. So then the punchlines. I don't know. I went and wrote a bunch of jokes yesterday. We'll see how it goes.
Are you trying to pop him most of all, like get him so he can't focus on his jokes? Is that part of the strategy?
No, he'll be better. He's been working on it longer, and he's got more dirt on me, and he knows how to hurt my feelings more. So.
But he seems like such a wonderful guy. I mean, I don't see him being able to hurt a fly with words or physically at all.
Yeah, Brandon seems wonderful on the outside. He's a masochist. He's insane. But it'll be all right. It'll be fun.
Is that why he's always constantly preparing for the end of the world?
Yeah, he's stressed out about the world coming to an end. Anything to fiddle with. Yeah.
Well, we just gotta keep guys like that, him like heavily medicated at all times.
He's very stoned all the time. he's on acid, he's on DMT, he's in another dimension most of the time. On mushrooms 80% of the time.
Well, that sounds like a very
I don't know if that's true.
perfect way to live
I'm
life.
throwing him under the bus. I'll write a bunch of jokes tomorrow before I get there.
If it works for I guess Joe Rogan, it can work for him, right?
Yeah, he was doing it before Rogan though. I'm pretty sure he was heavy into the psychedelics way before Joe Rogan.
I mean, there's no records, so we can't really tell that. But yeah, so let's get into it. You are a filmmaker. You have your own studio. You just released "This Is a Thing," right? Let's tell on Bell TV. So where's your head at with all your recent success?
I don't have a success. I don't have any recent success. I'm just gonna let you ramble off things about me. Most of what you just said is true. I don't have my own studio. I work at a studio. A friend of mine has a studio that I'm heavily involved in. I help out at, and it's easier to say that it's mine, so people will go there. But I just work there. I'm just a janitor, really. I clean the floors and stuff. Clean the toilets.
But like you directed like a program that's on Bell TV right now. Like that's a pretty, and you got 2 seasons out of it so far.
Yeah, the second season of This Is the Thing just came out. It's out. Nobody knows because Bell dropped the ball. I'm gonna make this interview really hard for you.
No, that's fine.
Well, we didn't expect
I'm
it to
pretty
be
good at my
easy.
skills as an engineer to get things out.
Is it good? No. Yeah, season 2 of This Is the Thing just came out on Bell Fibe, which is Bell. It's like Bell's streaming service, I guess. Right? It's what Bell uses to stream. And what I found cool when season 1 came out was there's so many people I knew that didn't know that they had Bell Fibe. They're like, oh fuck, I have that. I guess I'll watch your show. And then season 2 came out with very little promotion, because Bell didn't give a shit as much as they did for season 1. What happened was I think they bit off more than they can chew, so they had way too many programs going, and we were one of the first like scripted comedy shows that they picked up early on because it's a new model of television programming. It's only been around for a couple years, and we got our first show during the pandemic. And our first season picked up then, and we made it through the pandemic, which was a feat in itself. Fucking writing and directing and producing a TV show in the pandemic was a lot of work.
How difficult was it to like, especially like we were working with other comedians and people that probably don't really give a shit about certain things going on in life. How difficult was it to like rein in people to wear the mask, be the proper safety protocols or anything, or did you guys kind of like just wing it?
No, we didn't book any assholes. Everybody on our cast and crew followed protocol because they wanted to work and make money. And it was fun. The coolest thing about our show is we made a show about comedy with a bunch of comedians, and then everyone on our crew was a funny person as well. So like we had people, our camera guys, our audio guys, they're all comedy fans, and everybody's making each other laugh. But everybody wore their masks and everybody social distanced and did their job and got it done. But we had a great time doing it. It was difficult, but
So it's probably a great time, but I have to imagine, you know, like the I had to imagine like it was probably so hilarious at times that you probably had to like take a 15-minute break in between takes just for everyone to calm down, because it's hard to like once you've gotten that role, that comedy role of like ad-libbing or like breaking character that.
well, that's how we knew it was good. Whenever we knew something was good, when it would end with me not saying cut, but me just bursting out into laughter, and then the whole crew bursting out into laughter, and then I would say cut, and then we would just try to push it. And I'm not the type of director that likes to do a ton of takes, so we would do 3 or 4 takes on something, but if it was funny, we would just go wild. Like my notes would be like, okay, let's go wild on this one. Everybody improv and get nutty with it and see how far we can take it. So like there's one scene where we're just riffing on bare naked ladies jokes and bare naked ladies songs, and Tim and Mike just went for like 10-15 minutes just back and forth, just riffing, and like the whole cast and crew, people were biting their knuckles trying not to laugh, and then as soon as the scene's over, I burst out into laugh. Like if you go through our raw footage, it's just me fucking cackling at the end of every fucking shot.
So like now you've had this accomplishment of like having 2 seasons of a show.
Yeah, it's
Not an accomplishment. You're a very humble man, but at the same time, we've talked about your career and how like you want to make a director's role and everything. So, like, do you have any goals going forward in terms of that? Like, I mean, I know that's what you're trying to aim towards, but like, do you feel like sometimes you might be getting in your own way in terms of like your humility and like not, like you're very confident at your job, but like you seem to be a bit too humble for someone that's a director these days.
No, I'm good at my job.
I'm saying though, but you're like,
oh,
this is a shit show, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I do. I love writing and directing. I love directing, and I've done some projects even over the summer of where I directed other people's scripts, where people would send me their scripts and I would read them and I would shot list them and think visually how I would put them together and what I'd like to see from the actors and stuff. And actually did a couple things that were not even comedies, which was out of my comfort zone, but a lot of fun to do. I did a drama and like a slasher film, and I like directing because I'm a visual thinker. When I read something or somebody's telling me a story, my brain's firing off like a movie. It's seeing it, it's very visual. And I kind of came up through the director of photography role and through camera operating and stuff. And I worked at Panavision for a little bit and like learned 35 mil cameras. And I'm really into the optics of everything. I love lenses. I'm a lens nerd. But I know way too many camera guys that are way better than me. So I was like, I don't want to be in the camera world. I like telling the story and putting the story together with the actors and with the shots, and knowing like, well, we could shoot this on a 50 mil lens, and I want to do this on Cooke S4s and RE or whatever. So I know the tech side of thing enough that I can talk to like a DP, and then me and my DP on This Is the Thing, we've been friends for over 15 years, and like we lived together in Toronto. We did sketch comedy together, and he's a really good director of photography. So I'd rather just work with a guy like him. And through him, I've met other camera operators and DOPs that I enjoy working with. So I think I've made that move into being more of a director, and I can still like jump on camera if I have to. And I'm working on a couple other Bell Fibe shows right now. I'm working on one as director of photography. Scott Falconbridge is Falling Down. They've announced that show, so I can talk about it. And it's being directed by my good friend Patrick Coppolino, who is the manager of Levity Comedy Club, and like I've toured the country with him as a stand-up, and he used to work for Tom Green and stuff. So he brought me on as his DOP, but we kind of had that same relationship where he could tell me his vision and I know how to technically execute it. So that's been fun for me. And like, I just want to make comedy too. I just want to make people laugh, even though I've done a couple other things this summer. But before that, like before This Is the Thing, I directed a bunch of stand-up comedy specials for people too. Big names too in Canadian comedy. Corner Gas, Brent Butt.
And like I've seen a bunch of your work now. The closer we become as friends, because I want.
What else have you seen?
Well, I saw This Is the Thing season 1. I haven't seen. You haven't sent me anything to watch season.
Have you seen my Ding Dong?
Has it appeared on the To Dick or Not Dick yet? Or I think Justine's described it once or twice, so I don't really need to get a visual. So I'm all good on.
She hasn't described it. The lights are off. How we do it with the lights on.
But I did want to ask you, like, do you like?
What else have you seen though? I will send you season 2. I think a YouTube link is like, it's taken forever to get one, but I think there's one coming and I'll send it to you.
I saw your I saw your you directed your friend stand up, the Scottish guy. That was very cool. That was funny.
John Mostyn. I did John Mostyn's. I've done Tyler Morrison's. Done a bunch. I did.
I saw Tyler's too, I think.
I've done Tyler's last 3 specials I directed. But also like Brandon McIntosh and my buddy Mike Ralstone, who's my DOP for This Is the Thing, and Jeff Campisi. We used to just do web sketches when we were in college or after college. We all lived in a house together in Toronto. And if you go look up whale pranks on YouTube, you'll find a mess of terrible garbage that we wrote and directed and shot. And like that's pretty much like the basis for all of this shit.
And like as a comedian, as a performer yourself, and now a director, and having both those roles, does that help you with your creativity as a director, like going knowing how to perform as well?
I understand jokes. I like to believe, and not I would only tell you this, Mitch, on a recorded podcast, that I feel like I understand jokes. And there's a different way to visually tell a joke than to write a stand-up joke, but they have a similar formula. And like that, I also, not to toot my horn more, but that's kind of what this is about. I edited a lot of comedy specials and I edited a lot of comedy albums. And I've been told by people in the industry that they like my editing on a comedy album or a comedy special because I understand jokes. And it's not just like that Netflix, I'm sure Netflix has people that understand jokes working for them, but it's like, because I'm a comic and I know timing, it's timing, you know, it's rhythm. And I think that helps. I think it transfers. I don't know. I just go with my gut. If I can make myself laugh and I can make my friends and the other people in the room laugh, hopefully that translates to everyone watching it laughing.
I mean, like in terms of like, you know, having now directing like dramas and stuff, and like kind of put yourself out there in terms of doing like other more creative avenues. Do you think that there is more of a mutual respect between you and the person on camera because you yourself have performed and have that performance art in your background?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I just worked with a really good actor in this drama that I did, who's like acted in a ton of cool stuff, but we just like clicked and got along. And he told me after it was one of the best sets that he'd ever worked on. It was just like really comfortable for him as an actor. And we had never worked together before. And he's done some pretty big stuff. And that movie should be coming out soon. It's called Clementine. It's a real fucking throat slasher. Not to give it away. But it's fun. So yeah, it's fun working with, I don't know. I'm also just like I like to think I'm a real down to earth guy. So I try to approach things with no ego, you know. I try to approach things with no fucking you know, I'm not trying to suck my own dick. I'm just trying to make something cool, trying to make something that looks sweet. And if everybody in the room's on the same page, then hopefully, you know, we get there by the end of the day, or by the end of a couple takes, we know what we're trying to achieve. I'm not one of these fucking guys that's yelling at people to get the shot that I want. Like if the camera guy sees a better shot than I have, like I trust you. That's the part of good producing too, is putting the right people in place.
So like, where do you think that kind of like deviates, right? Like as a director who likes to have a carefree kind of like set going where everyone's happy, everyone's collaborative, where do you think some directors go when like they're so controlling, it's a miserable set and like they get what they need, but like, you know, like do you think
they have little
lack of
penises.
ego has helped you more than it has deterred you in your career?
I'm comfortable with the size of my genitalia.
That's it. That's all you need to. That's all you need to. You don't need to drive a Ford F-150 truck to go get around town to show everyone.
No, and then those guys and those directors that are yelling at their crew probably have tiny wieners.
But you know what I mean, though, right? I mean, like, because like there are a lot of people that get ahead in life by being complete assholes, but like
a lot of people just want to do it more than they know how to do it. Like I think that's a big thing. So like especially indie film and even young comics and stuff, you know, they're like they're ahead in their brain, they're ahead of where they actually are. Where I think I've always probably been 2 steps behind where I'm actually am, and I'm trying to make the coolest thing I can, but I don't know. You're trying to get into my brain, man.
Yeah, but it's fascinating because like you tell me some stories about like who you've hung out with and who you know and situations you've been from comedy and directing. And I'm like, how the fuck do you get yourself in these rooms with some of the most talented people in the world.
Lucky.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. Like, but like,
I got horseshoes up my
it's
ass.
not just luck though. Like, you gotta be good to be lucky is with the common phrase, right? So like, you have something there obviously that people like and want to excel upon. So like, do you like how do you reward yourself? How do you give yourself credit? I mean, like, you're doing good things, but at the same time, you're like, not a big deal, right?
Go home, I crank one out and call it a day. Smoke a
Do you-
joint, eat some McDonald's.
Now, I do want to mention this though, right? So like, we've known.
Sorry, I'm not making this easy for
No,
you. I
no,
don't know. I don't know.
we
I get to hang out with some cool people, and I'm really grateful for the people I've gotten to work with. And then I've done well when I've gotten to that. Those people bring me back. I was lucky. I met a really good Canadian comedy producer, Danny Menlo, early on, who runs TooFar.tv, but he also had connections with Kenny Hotz and with Barry Katz, and we went to JFL, and we just went to Skank Fest this weekend, and he really hooked me up with Tyler Morrison, who's I just get hooked up with these people that have other connections who know other people that just the ball keeps rolling, and I'm cool to be around. I'm not a dick. I don't fuck up much. And I know the tech world, so I can a little bit, not, but I know what cameras. And if I don't know, I know somebody who knows. So it's a chain link fence of just trying to put the right people together. And I've been lucky that those people bring me back. There, that answers your question.
It does. And speaking of like talking to creative people and to people that you run that are in your life, I had your girlfriend Justine on the podcast earlier when we talked about her Halloween haunt and everything. And I broached a topic about her being with you and how much it's bettered her life in terms of
You
creative.
guys talked about me?
Yeah, we talked about the Halloween haunt and how like your creativity helped her in her goal of like upping the Halloween haunt and everything. So and
I love what she does.
I have kind of noticed a change in you since you guys started dating, whereas you do seem to be more productive with your comedy and you're working on new material. So kind of giving me a little knowledge of that, like what is it like being with someone who is also creative and also driven? Like has that helped you in your
Absolutely. And just someone who's supportive. And like a comedy fan, like she's such a comedy nerd, like more so than I even realized. Like every day she mentions someone, like, how do you even know who that person is? You pay attention more than I do. And like she's just a comedy fan, she's a comedy nerd, and I don't know, we got a really good thing going where we support each other and want to see each other succeed. And she knows how big my hog is.
you would think, right?
And no, just kidding. And she helps me, and I think everything she does is so rad, and like what she does with her fundraising and with the Halloween haunt, and that was one of the first things I fucking gravitated towards her, because she raises tons of money for mental health, and that's something that's near to me, and I think that's fucking rad. So anyway, I can help, and I wish I could help more. Sometimes I don't help enough, but like we do, we feed off each other well when it comes to working together on stuff like that. And then same doesn't go for joke writing. I read her a bunch of my jokes yesterday, and she's like, "You're not funny. Leave me."
Well, I mean, that's like you know, I both know her very, very fairly well. Obviously,
She's hilarious too.
she's
So
fucking
fun.
so funny. Like it's some of it is so
We're
unintentional.
not gonna start sucking her dick now, are we?
Pardon?
We're not gonna start sucking her dick now, are we?
Well, she has a huge one, so we could share at the same time. It'd be fine.
I gotta go
I
to her place and do that after I leave here.
So you mentioned Skank Fest. What were you doing there? Tell us what was happening and like some of the stories there, man. Because like you came back, I saw you yesterday at Frankenfurters, and you look exhausted. Like you had not recovered from the trip.
I did catch
So I
up on
imagine, like I saw you posting photographs. It looked like a fucking time, man.
It's it was the wildest I've been to a few comedy festivals. I've been to Just for Laughs a few times, and I've been to Halifax a month in the Canadian ones, just as a filmmaker, never as an actual comic. But that's why I went to Skank Fest as well. was as a filmmaker, not as a comedian, which is funny when you're there. People always are like, "Are you a stand-up?" Like, yeah. I almost did 2 shows, but I didn't end up getting up. I probably could have, but I didn't really press too hard because I was busy. Because I went down with Decentral Comedy, which, if you don't know what, or Comedy Decentral Comedy.
Comedy Central, I think it is.
No, it's comedy. It's Decentral Comedy. Decentral Comedy, which is a comedy club in the metaverse in Decentraland. Which, if you're not privy to the metaverse, get there, because it's the future, and I'm not at all either. I have no idea what these nerds are talking about, but they have a comedy club in the metaverse, and they've actually screened in Decentral Comedy in the comedy club. They've screened a bunch of my work already. They screened Tyler Morrison's special. They screened Mike Wilmot's special, which I filmed. They've screened the podcast that I've done with Tyler Morrison and Mike Wilmot, with Jared Campbell and Ian Gordon, some stuff I did with Fiona O'Brien. So I've worked with enough comics that I have all this material. And basically what this comedy club is, right now it's like another place to stream stuff. It's just like a place to stream comedy specials, but it's seen by people all over the world, right? Anyone can create an avatar, walk in there, and the idea is eventually it's going to be in VR, and you'll just be walking around in this world, and you'll go to this comedy club, and you can spend money.
That's not unnerving at all, but yeah, cool.
Spend money under, like, it's all Bitcoin, it's all cryptocurrency, it's all fucking wearables and NFTs and shit.
The Matrix is real, guys. We are becoming one.
This is the Matrix. So what we went to Skank Fest to do, and there's an app that the guys at Decentral have access to, and they can scan you, and it takes like 5 minutes. They scan your face. You go chin up, chin down. You do a little 360. It scans your body perfectly and creates like a Tony Hawk video game character of yourself. And then the idea is, then a comic could be performing a show. They could screen that into the metaverse. So they could be in a 50-seater room, screen that to 1 million people in the metaverse, and then walk in as their avatar and do a meet and greet. They could talk to the crowd, do Q&As, hang out in the room as their avatar. So like, I think, did I show you some avatars yesterday?
No.
I had a few. Maybe I can show you through the screen. We did one with Bobby Kelly. We got Poopies from Jackass. We got Godfrey. We got like tons of people. So we were there at Skank Fest. So basically, Decentral Comedy was a big sponsor of Skank Fest. They had their own stage there. We had a table set up where we were, telling people about it. We're scanning people. My main job was to run around and just do behind the scenes footage. I was walking around on the streets with JJ Lieberman. And if you don't know JJ, he's a hilarious comic from Toronto. He's in New York now. Fucking just super funny. And so he was outside asking people if they knew about the metaverse. And it was super funny. Here, let me show you, if I can show you this through my computer screen. I won't put the volume on. So there's, you see my screen a bit without it being blurry? Hey, you can kind of see it. See that?
Yeah.
There's Bobby and Annie Lederman, and there, go to the screen.
That's not working at all.
You can kind of see what actually, if you go to Decentral Comedy on Instagram, we posted a bunch of them. We did Luis Gomez, we did Aaron Berg, and so we were just there documenting the trip and letting people know about Decentral Comedy, and got all access passes. We were hanging out in the green room doing a podcast with people, with Tyler Morrison and John Moses. All these names I'm dropping are hilarious comedians, so go check them all out because they're hilarious. But yeah, I was there with John Moses, Tyler Morrison, and we just fucking ran around Skank Fest and told people about the future, but then also got drunk and partied and had to fucking beat off some hookers.
Do you feel like that Decentral sort of thing is that the future of comedy? Like, or are you like, I mean, I can't imagine like
I'm a purist, so I don't think it's the future of comedy, but I think it's definitely another avenue. It's an avenue that was sparked up during the pandemic. And I think a lot of guys were doing Zoom shows during the pandemic. I personally did one Zoom show during the pandemic, and it was with who just said that?
What?
Who just said brutal, eh?
Yeah, because
Did
I
you
saw one.
did you say that?
Yeah.
It didn't sound like you. It sounded like somebody else.
No, because like you did one. What was that experience like? Because Maka through her work, we had like a two
They
community.
won. It was terrible. Um,
Is like
I
we had
set
signs
I set
saying
up a green
haha
screen.
lol, and it just like they were trying their best and they were actually very good comedians, but like it did not translate at all.
What was weird was because you had headphones in and you could hear people laughing, but they're all like isolated laughs and stuff. And all the other comics on the show like had their mics either on or off. I set up a green screen behind me. I was keying in their logo and stuff, because I got the lights and stuff. So I went all out. I did one of it. I bombed. I knew I was bombing. I started like I was doing it beside my closet, so I started like putting on vests and different shirts and stuff, and totally just bombing. And then at the end, I took my headphones off, and I was like, "Well, that fucking sucked." And then the host goes, "Your mic's still on." They could hear me when I said that fucking sucked. So that was the only one I did. So I did one, and but a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people were finding other ways to do comedy, and I think this Decentraland thing came out of it. What I think is cool about it, and is the decentral part of it, is the decensorship, no censorship, because there's a bit of a war on comedy right now on some people that don't, the YouTube algorithms and the Instagram algorithms are taking people's content down when maybe they shouldn't. There's bad comedy out there, of course, but some people are being censored too hard, and I think this will be a place where piss and shit jokes can live and not get taken off of YouTube, because I think you're going to see that tighten up more with censorship on who can say what. So something like Skank Fest and the type of comics that perform at Skank Fest, this is Decentraland is perfect for them, because those are the guys that are getting their shit taken off YouTube for being too edgy. And I'm not talking about these fucking edgelords out there that are trying to be over the top edgy and saying nasty, terrible things. I don't like those fuckers, but I like good dirty comedy, and I like good offensive comedy when it's done proper, so I think that this is a good route for that.
When you think about comedy, because like I think we both love comedy, I think you're more studied in the art form. You mentioned how like
Art form.
how to you know how to construct a joke, how a joke works, but there are certain comedians out there that are so out of left field, right field, whatever have you, and it just sometimes it works. So like how how do you come up with your material? How do you help others enhance their material when they're doing a stand show or anything?
I develop material very slowly. It takes me a long time, but I work it all to death, and I like doing my jokes over and over again until they're fucking perfect. Um, I also like to get really hard and walk outside in the cold.
And just eat it out so it becomes an ice cold when it pops.
No,
You could spit and it would be like -40. It would just freeze and fall on the ground. It's just your cum doing the same thing.
exactly.
A shooter! Oh my god! Watch out!
Cumsicle. I like cold cum.
Bring it back to Christine. She's like, "What is this? It's a gift."
Lick it. No, I write in a notebook. I sit down. I think a lot of my stuff is personal. I try to write stuff that's real to me. Stuff that I don't have a lot of crazy views on the world or anything right now. I wouldn't mind getting there. A lot of my material now is stuff that's happened to me in my real life, funny stuff and funny stories and things I think are weird, and just weird observations and stuff. But once I'm working on something, I like to get it on stage and then work it out and then rewrite it. And I beat things into the ground until I know they're good, and then I kind of put them away and have them in the chamber.
Do you like with your group of comedy friends and you being a director, have you had anyone reach out to like just film material for them so they can maybe use for a special, or
All the
have you approached
time.
have you
My
approached
fucking phone doesn't shut up.
have you approached yourself about doing your like filming your own stand-up and making your own special or something like that?
For me, I want to do it when it's right, and when like I have enough producer friends that I talk to on the regular about it, that they'll let me know when they think it's right. And everybody says it's close, but I think there is a little bit of added pressure because I am the go-to guy. One of them, there's a few in this country, but I am lucky enough to be one of the people that produces a lot of albums for people. I produce a lot of independent albums. I produce all the albums that come out through Cottage Comedy Digital. Those are all technically produced by me, along with Tyler Morrison. And I think there is some added pressure that I put on myself, that when I do my album, I want it to be right. I want it to be good. I want to at least have been working as a headliner for a period of time where like I get my little headline spots here and there now, which is great. I get to work out longer sets. I can totally cover 40 minutes, no problem with the material I have. But it's not all fucking gold. And I'm a perfectionist and a purist, and I want it to be fucking perfect when I do it. So it's it'll come and it'll happen, and I have all the resources to make it happen on a good level when it does. But my phone is constantly blowing up with people asking me how much I charge. Can you come do this? I fucking produced an album last night that I completely forgot about. So I had to hire a sound guy in Toronto to go down. Fucking Skank Fest. I totally forgot I booked this thing. I was like, there's no way I can get microphones and make it to Toronto. I was feeling a little sick yesterday. You saw me. There's no way. So I called up a sound guy I know. He was luckily available. He went down. He recorded it, sent me the files this morning. I listened to them. They're good. I'll do all the mixing and mastering on them and the editing now. But I'm lucky that I'm moving out, like kind of like we were talking about directing and how I used to be more of a camera guy, and then I moved into directing with the audio stuff. I know how to set up mics and record and make sure the levels are good and it sounds good. And I'm getting really good at the mixing and mastering part, the post-production side of things. I'm working on an album right now for it's kind of like a Yuck Yucks compilation thing with Brian O'Gorman and Tyler Morrison. And they just sent me files too. So I'm getting to a point now where a lot of people just send me files. I mix and master, I can edit, or I'll tell you that it's fucking shit if it's shit. But a lot of time I can save stuff. So like last night, I just sent a sound guy that I trust probably better than me going and recording it, paying a guy to go do it, and then I'll just cover the post end, and eventually I won't have to be the guy covering the post end, and I can just produce. That's what a good producer does. They just put the right people in place and answer the phones. Which yeah, my phone's blowing up all the time.
Do we want to post your phone number so more people can get in touch with you during?
No, don't. No, people can find me anyway. They'll get Instagram messages. They'll get Facebook messages. People find me. I have 3 emails. Like my business email, with Silver Drum Media, people come to that for comedy. So I'm lucky though, because like 99, I know what you do for work. You work in film or video, right?
Yeah.
You work in bullshit cable television.
Yeah.
I know what you do.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that 85% of my work is in comedy. It doesn't translate well to the old bank account, but
like we talked about.
I get notes on my phone like, hey, maybe we should cut that cum guzzling joke and move that tranny joke down to space. Let's add some more laughs to that tranny joke if we can. Like those are the notes I get on my stuff. I'm like, that I work in comedy, so I can't complain. 80% of my work is in comedy, and then every now and then I got to take pictures of watermelons.
And then like we talked about it briefly when we were at Fork River, and like it's the long game, right? Like what you're doing will lead to success eventually because you're doing the work and you're doing it properly.
No, there's no success in comedy.
You're getting those credits. You're doing the damn thing. Something that I probably should have gone down because you seem a lot more happier than I am.
I'm not. I'm miserable. I'm happy now. I got a beautiful girlfriend, but I'm
There you
miserable
go.
everywhere else.
So we're gonna wrap this thing up. Tyler, thank you for the conversation. What else do you want to promote before we leave here?
All right, we're wrapping it up already. I feel like we're
Instagram.
just getting the fucking throttle turned here, buddy. Wrapping it up already.
Yeah.
What to promote? You can.
You gotta go home to the beautiful wife, don't you?
I do. If my laundry's done, I'm at my dad's doing laundry, and I'm gonna go back to my beautiful wife. Uh, I'm on social media. You can follow me there at Ty Shazma on Instagram and Twitter. And season 2 of This Is the Thing is fantastic. I am proud of it. A lot of people put a lot of hard work into it. It looks fantastic. It is available on Bell Fibe. As much as I was shitting on Bell for slacking on the promo, I'm very grateful for the opportunities they've given me. And I'm working on 2 other Bell shows right now. So I fucking appreciate that platform.
You want to say?
You have to fucking put this all together. I was gonna say, just come see me. If you follow me on Instagram and stuff, come see me do stand up, because we didn't talk about it too much, but stand up is what I love more than anything. I work in stand up because I love stand up, and
Yeah,
I
let me
love doing it. I
talk
love
to
doing
me
it.
about it. Like,
Yeah, it came up. I
I
get it.
feel
I'm
like
just saying, I post dates, I post shows I got coming up. I don't know when this will come out. Oh, let's promote this, because I know this will probably come out before my show at Forked River on November 25th. Buy tickets for that if you're in the London, Ontario area. November 25th, Shasta and Friends forking around. I've got Tom O'Donnell. I got Jared Campbell. I've got Tyler Morrison. I've got other special guests coming out. Caitlin Chavera. It's going to be a fucking sick show. So come to that. That's the big stand-up show to promote.
and so like you're also, yeah, well, we can get more into it as well. I mean, we got time, why not? You also book your own comedy shows as well. So like, was that like, I mean, I tried running a few shows myself, but
I
like I don't
hate
have
it.
connections. I don't know the people well enough to like, book outside of like the scene and everything here in London. But you have those connections. So like when you book a show, when you contact a comedian, is it like a yes right away, like knowing because of your background in stand-up and having those reps?
That helps, because a lot of these guys are my friends now. Money also helps, and location helps. But I hate booking and promo and stand-up shows. That's why this show I do. I like this show because I like Fork River and I like helping them out. But I only do it quarterly. We did one in August. We're gonna do one now in November. We'll do another one in the spring. We'll do another one in the summer. We'll do it quarterly. But it's fun because I can bring out some cool friends that maybe won't come out to London that often. But yeah, I don't like running stand-up shows. I love all the bookers that book me because I see how hard it is.
What was it like the first time you got called to be booked on a show?
I don't know. I was happy. I was going to work.
Like everyone remembers like that moment, like where like someone asks you to be on a show, like a paid show, and it's like, are you fucking like, oh my god, it's happening? Like,
I started in Toronto, so I was in Toronto at the time. So it was very cool because there's such a large pool of comics to choose from. But I got in with some cool guys doing some cool mics. So I got on some cool shows early on. I did some cool stuff. I won the Brantford Comedy Fest, but I won the Brantford Comedy Festival within my first year. I got to open for Jeremy Hotz, and like that opened a bunch of doors for me, so people at least knew my name. And started hanging out with the Hamilton guys and working the clubs there. And it's just it's again like the filmmaking thing. It's kind of just being a good cat and being funny. If you can prove it when you're on stage, it helps, and then people book you. Um, so I try my best.
when you're like, we talked about how you like kind of like take a long process to like really get a joke down pat.
Mhm.
Was that always the case, or
Oh yeah, I
like
did
how, when did you learn that lesson? Like, I mean, I feel like everyone when
I,
you first start, you're like, I gotta get out as much material as possibly can, cause blah blah, because you're always trying to do new stuff. But you weren't that way.
no, I went into it with the pretty much the same first 5 to 7 minutes that I wrote, and I did that same fucking 5 minutes for probably a year. if not longer, year and a half maybe. But it was dialed, but I couldn't do any more. And it was all about having a giant testicle, but it was 5 minutes on having a giant testicle. And then like when I did that theater show with Jeremy Hotz, he was standing on the side of the stage when I got off, and he was like, fuck, 5 minutes all on one thing. And it was laser tight by then. And not my testicle, it was big and bulky, but the jokes were laser tight. But so yeah, like that was kind of my style. And then I like by the time I'd been doing those jokes for too long, I was like, and I was writing new stuff. I'll do something where I'll write something and I'll rewrite it a bunch before I ever take it to stage. I try to take things to stage quicker now. That's one thing that I do. Sometimes I'll think of something day of and I'll bring it to stage that night. Especially, I know what rooms are my open mics that I can work shit out on now. So I try to go to those rooms with some new stuff to play with. But people will see me doing the same stuff at open mics a lot, but it's because I'm still figuring it out, because I know it hasn't clicked yet. I gotta wait for it. There's a moment where I'm just like, oh, that's clicked, and now I can do it on weekend shows when I'm booked at Levity, or I can do it on bigger shows when I'm on the road with Tyler or whatever. So
How important is it to be able, like, because you said you start out in Toronto, and like I imagine there's like so
I
many.
did it backwards. I did it wrong.
How so?
I started in Toronto, and then I moved out of Toronto,
Yeah,
and I
but
moved to
so many
Hamilton, and
mics,
then I moved.
so many mics in Toronto that each crowd's gonna be different. Whereas here in London, every crowd, it's like the majority of the crowd is primarily comedians. So like, I feel like having
Same in Toronto. Same in Toronto.
really
85% of the crowd in Toronto is just comics, especially at open mics. It's all comics, talking to comics. It's worse in Toronto. It's an empty, dark room of sadness, and then 7 comics or 17 comics waiting to get on. It's not better. What I like about out here, what I like about is where I live out in the middle of nowhere when I'm not staying at my beautiful girlfriend's place. I live out here, but I can get to Hamilton in 45 minutes, and I can get to Kitchener-Waterloo in 45 minutes. I can get to London in 45 minutes. And there used to be shows in Brantford, even at the train station and stuff. There used to be a wicked show at the train station. So like the first couple of years I was living back out here, I could still get up every night of the week. And I because you're driving 45 minutes, you're thinking about that set the whole time. And the drive home, you're thinking about that set, and it's getting laser focused. It's not just like in Toronto, I try to hit as I do the grind. I try to hit as many rooms in a night as you could. You do five, 6 mics in a night, but you're just biking across town and running around like an idiot. And sure, like by the fourth set of the night, the jokes are getting dialed in. But I think you appreciate the stage time more doing it the way I've been doing it for the last few years. And like I moved to Hamilton for a bit, right when Hamilton was sick, and like I was getting up every night there, and then I wasn't coming out here as much, but I'm back here. So I drift around. I get back to Toronto a couple times a month too, usually for spots.
and so like having like you seem to be a part of like so many different scenes.
Poker in a
Like,
lot of fires, man.
pardon?
My poker's in a lot of fires.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's beneficial to you?
Yeah, I'm a ghost. I'm an enigma. I come in and out. I'm a well-oiled machine usually. Like it takes me a while to start actually hanging out with the scene. For a while, with even this new scene that's popped up in London, like kind of pre-pandemic and during the pandemic and post-pandemic, I wasn't coming into London that much. And when I did, I'd pop in, I'd drop a set. Fucking Keely messaging me, fucking your podcast host, man. I'd pop into London, I'd do a set, and then I'd leave right away because I got the drive, or I wouldn't talk to anyone. I'd sit in the back. I still kind of just sit at the bar sometimes because that's just me getting in my own head. I like the social aspect of stand-up, but I also like thinking about the jokes before I go on, and I like getting social after, and I'll stick around and I'll talk to Pat Tiff until 11 in the morning, and then he'll wander to the street and break his arm. That's what happened that night that Pat broke his arm. He talked to me too late, and I think he got a little tired. He lost his footing.
What do you speaking of Pat and people in the comedy scene, comedy is such a wonderful with an asterisk beside it scene, and you get to meet so many different characters from all walks of life. It's truly.
I love everybody. It's really, as a small town person, I grew up in a real small town, still live in one. The amount of people I've met from every walk of life, so I probably have a friend that's from every country around the world, or not every country, every continent at least. Like I've met so many people, different walks of life, so we all get along because of fucking stand up, and that's sick. Do
you have any, what's your I'm gonna wrap it up after this because I want to hear like your best worst story in comedy.
What's that? What's the question?
What's your best worst story from
my best worst story? My best worst story, like a bomb story,
a bomb story, or like something that went terribly wrong during a show, or just something that went off the rails after an event. Like what's
it all, man.
like holy shit story you have?
I've had it all. I've had people telling me that I suck. People telling me to kill myself. I was doing those. I was doing emceeing for Spenny from Kenny versus Spenny, but like on his solo fucking acoustic music tour, where like he's just looking for money or whatever, and we're playing a fucking bowling alley in Tillsonburg, Ontario, right? And I'm emceeing the show. I'm hosting the show, and there was like these rappers on, like these white farm kid rappers. They're rapping about hay bales and fucking riding their mom's sow to school. So there's these kids rapping. So I had to bring the rappers up, and then they had like a little fan base of white rappers. And then there's another comic on the show, and he did all right. And he was okay. And then I'm emceeing, and then I don't know when it was. It was probably right before I had to bring Spenny up. And he's in the green room, right? And I'm bombing all night. I'm just eating shit, and I know I'm bombing. And that was the first time I had somebody shout out, "You should kill yourself." And I was like, just trying to live my dream up here in a fucking bowling alley in Tillsonburg, opening for a washed up Canadian TV star.
Washed up.
So then
I wonder if he knows that.
Well, he knows. Because I told him. I said that. He heard it. So I bomb, and then I bring him up, and he does his little acoustic music thing. And then after the show, I don't want to hang around. I just ate shit all night. And then but I have to hang around because I gotta get paid my $25. So I'm waiting by the bar to get paid my $25. And Spenny comes over to me, and he puts his arm around me, and he goes, "Don't worry, man. I tried stand up once too." Like he said it like as if it was my first time. I was probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years in of doing it every night. I was like, yeah, that's not my first time. Hey, look who it is. Let's answer this. Hey, you're on speakerphone. I'm on Mitch's podcast. You're on speakerphone. I'm still on Mitch's podcast. Oh, why is this mute thing on? I don't understand why she's been muted all night.
Well, it's probably for the best, to be honest. She's a very loud person.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
All right, man. We're gonna let you get to it. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll get to hear that Skank Fest story tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll tell you that tomorrow. Anyways, I tried to answer the phone. My beautiful Rose probably wondering where I am. Anyway,
you need that very adequate dick of yours.
Thank you for having me on, man. It's a lot of fun.
All right, man. I hope you had a good time.
I did. I hope you have a good evening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Cheers, buddy. Rock on.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Tyler. If you want to reach out to him and find out more about him, check him out on Instagram at Ty Shazma. That is Tyshazma on Instagram. You can check out his production company, Silver Drop Media, which is available on Instagram as well. Green Door Hamilton on Instagram. And of course, you can check out This Is a Thing on Bell TV. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And I hope you can enjoy the rest of the podcast coming forward. Not sure when or where they'll come, but goddamn, I'm enjoying all the episodes we're doing for season 2. So let's keep this train rolling. See you guys down the line. Cheers.